And you can do all of those three ways in your property portfolio. And in fact, you should, because the more diversified your commercial property portfolio is, the secure it is. So you should have retail, office, and industrial all in your property portfolio as well across Australia.
Hi, it's Helen Tarrant.
Welcome to Commercial Property Roadshow. This is Helen Tarrant, and today I want to share with you 3 ways of making money in commercial property. So the number one way most people make money in commercial property is through cash flow. So cash flow is buying set and forget property. So for example, you buy a property with Lowe's in there, you buy a property with a cafe in there, you buy a property with GIO as the tenant in there, coming up there, or you buy a property that has an office space with your professional tenants. So they're on a lease, usually 3 or 5 year lease. They've been there established for the last 5, 7, 10 years. The tenants are not likely to go anywhere. They're very well established. They like where they are. Their clients know where they are. They're happy to track along. Their business is going really well, really stable. They've got a succession plan. That's your solid set and forget type of commercial property. And what you do is the difference between the rent that you get and the interest rate that you pay the bank is the margins, the cash flow margin that you clear. And that cash flow margin is the positive cash flow that you put in your pocket. So that's the number one way. So you get cash flow. Basically sit back, relax, pick up the cash flow as you go along the years, use that cash flow to invest into another property or use that cash flow towards your lifestyle. So that's the number one way of investing in commercial property to make money. And the more you collect, the more in the years, the more you build up your cash flow, then you eventually retire to replace your income. So, and normally on a cash on cash return, you get at least 10% on the cash flow return, and that's not, accounting for future capital growth as well on the property. So it's a really good proposition compared to bonds or putting money into the bank. And so that's one of the reasons people do it. Now, the number two reason why you would invest in commercial property, the way to make money, is to buy now a property in a metro or a key location and wait for growth. So really position yourself for growth. So what does that mean? That means you buy a property and that property may have a lower yield, so lower return in cash flow up front. So they might be giving you, let's say, 5% return or 6% return, but it might have a really good tenant in there like Ally Health or medical or really good professional tenant in there. But they might also be in a really good position like a corner position. It might be a position where you have a new railway coming through. You might have a position where they're doing a new development by the council or by developers. All of these reasons why you would choose to buy that property. The lease might not even be what you like. It might not be a long 3 or 5 year lease. It might only be 1 year or 18 months ago, so usually a short lease. But what you're looking for in a property like that is you're looking for a property that is in a key location, that as the area gentrifies and as things change over time, or you getting more population moving into the area, less commercial because the area has more, say for example, you're getting 1,000 apartments in, or that you're getting new influx of a university area, or you're getting new influx of different house and land packages. So you're part of a commercial strip. What you want to do then is wait for your tenant to finish that lease, possibly putting new tenants in, or do a market review where you can increase the rent on that property, you can even leave your existing tenant there, but making sure that there's a lot more demand in this area. The location, you can push the rents up, and in the back end you're going to get that capital growth. So all in all, what you lose at the front end, you well and truly make up for it on the back end as well. So that in that way, you are holding out for the back end, which means in 2, 3, 5 years time, you can leverage off the equity of that property to buy again and use it as a deposit. So if you are happy working, and this is one of the great ways to get into commercial property, is to buy something where you have a little bit of cash flow but have a lot of security because you're in a metro area, really easy to re-tenant, and then afterwards you get, as the area changes, you put new tenants in there. The next step is for you to go and refinance, pull out the equity as you would in residential, and use that as a deposit to buy again your next commercial. So you're getting a little bit of cash flow. So a 6% yielding commercial property is going to give you a lot less cash flow than a 9% yielding commercial property, but you'll still get positive cash flow in your pocket. And with that, but you'll also be getting the back end. You could potentially be getting 30, 40 or even $100,000 in capital growth on the back end, depending on the price of your property and where it's located and what you plan to do in the next 3 years or what's coming up in the next 3 years. So that's the number 2 way, is to buy now and position yourself for growth. Number 3 way to make money in commercial property is to actually get a property that is vacant, a property that is absolutely run down or a shit tip or a renovator's delight, and do it up. It is about getting a property and that has the capacity to be either split into 2, versatility to maybe add a residential tenancy on there, versatility for you to totally refurbish and gut it. So a property like this, where that used to be a shoe shop for the last 35 years. They were on a short tenant when they moved out. You knew they were going to move out in 6 months, and then you can go in there, totally gut the place, and then build in a upstairs part, turn that into residential where you used to have a storage space, and then make downstairs a restaurant tenant. So where you can put 2 tenancies, increase the rent because you're putting 2 tenants in there, and automatically increase that uplift in both cash flow in the hand as well as the increased growth in that property. Now that's truly the best of both worlds, and that's you having control of your own destiny by buying the type of property, by doing it up, and you're actually mastering your own wealth. But the thing is, that kind of property takes a lot of time because you've got to dedicate and coordinate a team. You've got to make sure that you can definitely get those rents. So there's lots and lots of due diligence and research to be done. You've got to pick your areas right, and you've got to profile the type of tenant that's going to come in there and really fit out your premise to suit them. So that type of property do take some time, but the end result means you will get both cash flow and growth from it. But for a period of time, there won't be any cash flow. So you just got to make sure you're actually in a job that you can actually support this transition period, and that you've got some money set aside. That apart from buying the property, you actually have the money to be able to refurbish it. If you don't, then there's no point having it as a white elephant just sitting there. The main thing is that you can get this property, and that you can then use the leveraged equity and cash flow to go again in a short space of time. And after you do it, you can have a couple of choices. You can sell the property, or you can refinance it, depending on what your strategy is. If you are looking to accumulate a lot of deposit, or you want to do a joint venture deal, this is a great way to do. An uplift is a great way to get into commercial property with someone else with a little bit of deposit, and then create that uplift in the future. And you can do all of those 3 ways in your property portfolio, and in fact you should, because the more diversified your commercial property portfolio is, the secure it is. So you should have retail, office and industrial all in your property portfolio as well across Australia. Now if you want to know how to get started and where to get started in your commercial property journey, go to helentarrant.com or email me at helen@commercialpropertycashflow.com.au, and I look forward to helping you in a commercial property journey. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, click the bell, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.